Thank you for logging on to the PawCast for the week of Monday, October 5th through Friday the 9th. Hello, I'm Mr. Andrews, and yes, it is time for Pawville News. We begin this week with multiplying two-digit factors and dividing by two-digit divisors. Well, it's not going to be any old practice. It's going to be a review Monday. We'll also review all of the other things we've been learning in math this year so far, which things like relationship between place values, 10 times as much as, 100 times as much as, or if it's a smaller place value, it's 1/10 of or 1/100th of, you get it. Well, also we're going to be talking about and reviewing what it feels like when you multiply in patterns of 10, 100, 1,000. What happens when you divide by those kinds of numbers as well? So also we'll throw in there base 10 with exponents and what that looks like when you multiply or divide by those numbers. We're doing all this review Monday for one simple thing, a test on Tuesday. Yes, we have a test on Tuesday in math, and we're going to begin a new unit in math on Wednesday. We're going to be talking about decimals, and decimals like for the next 4 weeks, we're going to be working with decimal numbers. We'll begin that unit by comparing and ordering decimals on Thursday, and we'll carry that into Friday. On Monday, we're also going to be listening to the dog party members and cat party members as they return to school. They're also going to have a paper they have written, and they've already talked about how many paragraphs, how many words. It's how many ideas you have, and then all that will depend on how many paragraphs you have. So ask your fifth grader what that looks like. They have a picture of it inside their social studies journal to refer to. So we're going to be in the dog party convention and cat party convention. They're going to listen to each other's ideas about how to make Pawville a better place to learn. Now, after that meeting, several students are going to decide, hey, I'd like to be Pawville 20's president, the next Pawville president. So they'll also write a speech. It'll be due on Wednesday. Yeah, that gives them about a day and a half. So those students who want to run for Pawville's president and become their party's nominee will have their presidential speech written and ready to be recorded on Wednesday. I will then place those recordings on a private YouTube channel, one that no one can access except for those party members. And, well, you guessed it, about a week later, we're going to have our primary election. All the dog party members will have a chance to see the dog party candidates and their views. Cat party members, you'll have the same opportunity with your nominees or your people wanting to run that want to be the party nominee. All that's getting ready to be a lot of fun. So looking forward to that happening starting on Monday, and then our presidential speeches will be recorded on Wednesday. We're continuing to discover and practice weather symbols and weather patterns and how that affects and shapes weather, not only in North Carolina, but also in both the Northern Hemisphere and in the Southern Hemisphere. We're going to be, we're getting really, really close to practicing recording for our weathercasts. That'll be coming up soon. If you or your fifth grader sees any kind of really cool weather phenomena happening, hey, if you catch a tornado or a hurricane, no, hopefully you're not even close to anything like that. But if you see some really cool looking cloud shapes and you'd like to share them with our class and you can identify them, send them to me by email and we'll watch those before we watch the Van Denton weathercast each day.
U.S. He's at a capital. Oh, which one will we learn about this week?
Where in the United States am I this week? Well, here is my first clue. You can see behind me the state capital for this particular state. Its first clue is, well, the longest twin-span suspension bridge in the world connects this state with New Jersey. According to Time for Kids this week, this state is the only state without a national park. Of the 50 states, this state is 49th in size and 45th in population. And this state calls itself the first state. So your job now is to figure out what state name and what capital city am I in that selfie picture. State and capital, parent signature, parents, that lets me know you also watch the PawCast.
Where is Mr. Andrews? He's in the U.S. He's at a capital. Oh, which one will we learn about this week?
Let's all have a great week together, and let's all get the big paw.